Okay, Naveen.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks, Diana. So let's get started. And in this session, I'll cover about the integration service and the connector builder, and we'll see one custom connection to this. Let me actually remove this one. Okay. So first of all, welcome to the Dallas chapter of UiPath, and this is going to be the third session simultaneously every month. So very happy to be a part of the Dallas chapter. And sorry, something's wrong. Yeah, very happy to be a part of Dallas chapter. First, we'll cover the slides, and then I will shift on to the demos. We'll have exciting demos here, and we'll open the table for question Q&As. So what are we doing at Dallas chapter? We are online and offline, not pretty much offline, but we are completely online, discussing about the UiPath tips and tricks, and covering what makes a good RPA developer. And previously we covered about Studio Web, and now this session is going to be about integration service and custom connector builders. So you can reach out to me and Diana through the UiPath community channel, community page, and we have a Slack channel that is currently not so active, but I'll share those details going forward. So what we'll be doing is in our chapter, Dallas chapter, mainly we'll be like discussing about projects, components, and all these stuff. Building components together and working on some open automation ideas. And we are open for suggestions and recommendations for, if you have any something that is coming up to your mind. So feel free to ping them in the chat so that we will come prepared for the next session about those kind of demos and POCs that you want to look for. Without any further ado, let's jump into the next slide. So myself, Naveen Chatlapalli, and I'm a solution architect working at Ashling Partners. And also I'm one of the UiPath Dallas chapter leads here. I'm working with Ashling Partners for 3+ more years, and I have vast experience around UiPath and especially UiPath. But prior to this job, I was a .NET developer working at many startups and many companies. So yeah, that's my background. And what is integration service, and what are we looking about the connector builder? So integration service in late 2021, I guess, UiPath has acquired a company called as Cloud Elements. So where they have been heavily investing on API integration services like this. So coming to the automation space, and API integration makes the robotic process automation gel together and function or perform any automation seamlessly. Like, if you have any connection for any web services or any products that you are currently using, let it be Salesforce, Cisco, Dropbox, anything. So if they all have these kind of API services, right? So what this integration service is doing is they already have some pre-built custom integrations. So pre-built integrations, which you can directly connect with your credentials that you have, and you can just integrate with your within your automations. But also you can bring the API to this integration service by using custom connector builder, which we will see shortly. So what this is mainly doing is, so how you will trigger your automations in RPA workflows like queue triggers and time-based triggers. Now here you can automatically trigger based on the operations that are being performed on that particular applications. So let's take an example of Gmail automation. So whenever you are receiving an email into a particular folder, or let it be inbox or anything, so you can perform an automation trigger based on that particular email trigger. So whenever you receive some email to particular inboxes, so it automatically triggers and it performs the necessary steps. Like if it has some PDF documents or whatever, it will convert them, or it will move them, it download those attachments and move them to somewhere else like that. So those are the kind of very feasible and functional use cases that you can see through UiPath Integration Service. And there are enormous use cases, like if you can trigger or if you can communicate within the application without using any UI automation or without using any web-based automations, right? So it is much flexible and friendly. So that is the reason this is very helpful for the automation scope. Also, mainly, what does UiPath Integration Service offer? It has a large library of connectors. As I told you, there are so many out-of-the-box connectors that the UiPath team has already built with. And connections, it is easy to set up and manage the connections. So it also has a functionality to pulse check whether the API or the connection is active or has it been failed or something like that. So that is there. And triggers, as I mentioned, based on the triggers of receiving an email as an example. So you can automatically trigger those kind of services within the integration service itself instead of going to the orchestrator and like triggering some options there. So you don't need to leave the integration service here. Simplified automation design. So as I mentioned, it is providing uniform integration experience around all the studio designers, right? So that is the main functionality of it. So you don't need to leave this studio, or you let's say if you want to use an activity called as HTTP activity, you have to communicate, or you have to put all the API calls, or whether it is a get call or post call, and you have to pass in all the required information. So all that information is being done, or all that heavy lifting is being done in the integration service itself. So it is simplifying your automation design also. And flexible automation seamlessly, as I mentioned, right? Instead of using UI automations and web automations, so you can automatically use APIs, which is very flexible, and security and governance. So every API call and that you are going to communicate with that particular application, the front-end service is going to be very secure and governance based on the policies, how the API has been designed. So, let's say if you're pulling some information from Salesforce, right? So the Salesforce API has to be designed in such a way that it is seamlessly passing the information into UiPath, but UiPath has its own security and governance policies in handling that data, what it has been pulled or what it is posting to that particular API, right? So that particular security and governance structure is already inbuilt. So anatomy of connectors. So mainly, there are a lot of API calls like REST OData, OAuth 2.0, so XML, JSON. These are all the type of applications and third-party applications where APIs can be leveraged. And how these are being connected within UiPath ecosystem. So these are being connected to UiPath Robots, Studio, Apps, Orchestrator, and Assistant. So I will cover a couple of examples in our demos here. So yeah, that is what you are going to see. And components. So what you actually need when you are directly using an activity like HTTP activity within UiPath Studios, right? So you mainly you have to get all the GET request calls and HTTP calls, and what type of, sorry about that. Yeah, you have to get all the type of what authentication it has to have and what resources it has to be. I mean, what is the body that has to be submitted? What is the header section that needs to be submitted? So there is a lot of learning curve when it comes to configure the APIs yourself. With this integration service, it is completely taking all the, it is removing this heavy lifting. It is taking care of the heavy lifting part, and it is just communicating with your credentials. So how you will log into Gmail or any kind of website, it is as simple as that, connecting to this connector builder with that credentials. And seamless integration. So there can be data models, activities, and events. So all these can be pulled within this information. So there are a lot of, so let's take an API call, right? So it has lots of layers of information. It has get information of lists and IDs, or it has post information, or it has put information, and all these things, all these kind of models. So those can be seamlessly integrated within integration service also. And one example of connecting connector builder. So let's take an example that of a pet store, and this is the same example that you're going to see in today's demo. So one of the pet store that you are operating, the client is operating, has a website called as pet store, and there is no out of the box integration service that has been built for this particular API. So you want to use connector builder service, and you want to create this one of the integration into the integration service itself. So you will just get all the information of what is the API that is being leveraged, and what is the authentication type that it has to be taken care, and what is the body that needs to be passed. So if you get that information, automatically it is very easy to configure this particular API within the integration service. And mainly, who is this connector builder for? So it is mainly for technology partners and UiPath customers and community devs. So clients who wants to leverage this functionality can directly go to the technology partners like Ashling partners, and there are many other partnering companies with UiPath. And UiPath customers who are direct customers for UiPath can leverage this functionality within their discussing with their SCOA team members and all these things, all the other members as well. And community devs have, there are so many tutorials online. You can leverage UiPath forum to come in, see what are the latest and ongoing discussion that is happening within this integration service. Like, I leverage UiPath forum every day because if I got stuck somewhere, I just instead of Googling it and going nowhere, I will just go to forum, UiPath forum, and search for the particular problem that I've been faced, which has been already faced by someone else. And there is some good discussion that has happened in that particular forum website. So I leverage that forum functionality a lot. And skills required. Mainly RPA developers who has basic minimum knowledge about APIs can directly start leveraging this API integration service. And they should basically understand or try to be able to read the API documentation and connect the dots. Okay, this is OAuth type of information, so I have to pass in the client secret key and all these kind of information. And if it is a SOAP and REST call, that is a different kind of information. That means you have to pass the username and passwords. So those are the kind of information that needs to be should be known by the developer who is working on this integration service. And employee and COE driven. Also, the employees, I mean to say, it is very easy because the SID devs, the citizen developers, can also start working on this integration service once they plug and play. It's like plug and play, right? So once they make that connection to any API, so it is very easy for them to create this seamless integration using this one. Awesome. So without a further ado, let's look into a couple of demos here. So for this, I have already connected to my community version of Cloud, and I'm just loading this UiPath Studio. So this is the main Automation Cloud website that it looks like. So for the first demo, I wanted to show what are the integration service modules. So this is the integration service. This is the side pane, left side pane, where it shows all the products that are available within UiPath, which are configured to you to this particular account. Okay. So here is integration service. So I will right click on it and open it in a new tab. So I'll show you what are all the current integrations that are available. So these are all the out-of-the-box integration services which are pre-built by UiPath team. So you can just plug and play them by connecting to the API services. Let's take Amazon Web Service, right? So it just needs some information about what is the S3 bucket information and what are the credentials that needs to be passed into. So if you go to this connections tab, so it clearly mentions what are the pre-connections that have been already made to this integration service. So just as an example, you can check the connection I told you, right? So you can click on the check connection option and see how the connection is. It's this connection pulse check. So you can remove this connection and you can re-add this. I will see this, how we can re-add this. I wanted to remove this so that I can show it to you in a demo. So for this, for the demos also, I will be using UiPath Studio Web, which is very friendly, and it's a recent tool or product that has UiPath has introduced. So you understood, right? Like you can trigger the options, trigger the UiPath connector services from here. These triggers are mainly for the integration service, because if you click on these triggers, right? So based on the service that you're going to select, so it will provide you the options here, like whether it is an event-based trigger or time-based trigger or whatever the trigger can be. So this is particular triggers are mainly for the integration service. There are separate triggers for orchestrator queues and studio webs. So that will be discussed in a later call. So this is about it. And if you want to build a new connector, right? So you have to click on this add new connector option. This is the custom connection builder. So first what we will do is we will run a demo using the Studio Web, and we will see, I mean, I have an Asana board that has been open here, and Jira board also. We will see how we can connect to this Asana board, and how we can create a how we can create a project inside an Asana board, and how we can leverage the how we can create and read the tasks that are inside this one. Okay. So without a further ado, let me open up this Studio Web in a new page. Yeah, I opened this one. So if I wanted to click so Studio Web also has all these templates, which I have already covered in one of the Dallas chapter meetings. But without any further ado, I'll show you how to create a new project. So we will give it a name, Asana UiPath demo. And for the current, how to start this automation, you can select the options based on this dropdown. It is manually, we can start this manually or any particular event based or time based. For now, for this demo, I'll show you how this automation can be triggered manually. So if you click on this plus icon, right, so it will automatically take you to the board where you have lots of categories of all the integration services that whatever you have seen there, those will be displayed here. So for your convenience, I will type Asana, and I wanted to get the record of particular automations. Like I wanted to see what are the projects that are available, right? So it is asking me to connect to Asana, right? So I will click on Asana, but I need to have an account in order to get connected to this. So I have already created a trial account, so that's not a problem. So continue with the Gmail. Whatever the functionality that you might have, so you can click and get it connected. So this is also the integration service that is talking to the Asana. So this is, you observed this, right? This is UiPath Integration Service that is talking to Asana, and it is making the API connection between UiPath and the Asana. So this is so simple that it was so seamless that you did not notice even that we have already connected to the Asana's API. So this is the workspace information that has been already created. So it has pulled me and given me the workspace that has been created within Asana. So I will just connect to it. So that seamlessly I have connected to Asana's API, and I am ready to get the records here. So I will select the object. So what object I wanted to see? I wanted to see the project name. Okay. And so there will be a project ID for every Asana project that will be created. So that project ID will be looking like this one. So let's take, this is the studio project, right? So there will be an ID. This is the ID, particular ID. So for now, I'm just hard coding this ID, but you can play around with this Asana and you can get all the information, whatever you are looking for. And I wanted to just display the project name just for the demo purpose. So I wanted to write the project name and I will call the particular variable of this one get record. So let's go to manage properties. And okay, switch to object view. Okay, now you see this, right? The get record information. And I will see what are all the responses that I will be getting through. So here previously there was the additional properties view, which I haven't selected. So I have just clicked the object view, which is giving me all this objects information. If if you know what to call, what API information that particular team name or the project name is looking at. So you don't need to select the object view. But if you don't know what is relying or what is the information that is being leveraging inside this API, right? So you have to select the object view, the previous one which I have selected, right? And here I will be selecting the project name. So I will go here and I will hit this name. So it is going to give me response.name. And let's run this step by step. This is like debugging mode in the UiPath Studio. It is the same way. So I will continue here. It has loaded all the packages. So this is still running, and this is also ran successfully. And now the optional project has been selected, but the project name, the log, the right line is one of the log functionality that I have logged here. So what is the log name? It has given me the project name as Studio Project. Whether is it right or not? Let's go and see. Yep, it is Studio Project. And if you want to see if you want to change the ID of this one, now I will be expecting test UiPath 1224. So let's see that as well. Let me run this quickly. Test UiPath 1224, right? So that's how I have quickly connected to Asana's dashboard, and I'm just pulling these records, right? So in the same way, you can play around with what Asana has to offer here. Like it has insert record, get record, update record, delete record. So lack of time, I don't want to waste the time on Asana itself. So here it's not only the seamless connectivity that we have seen with Asana boards, but we have also connected with Asana's API with UiPath Integration Service, which you have not even noticed that seamless it is. So, and in the next demo, right, I wanted to show you the latest hot topic of connecting with ChatGPT and OpenAIs. So I don't want to waste time. So what the functionality or what is the user friendliness of this UiPath Studio is, let's say in your company or in your organization, any of the developers have developed this Studio web project, right? They can grant you that particular workflow file, and you can just upload them. I mean, you can just import those workflow files into this UiPath Studio, and I'll show you how to do that. So this is the UiPath Studio main page, right? So here, if you click on this new project, it is the self project that is being created. But if you click on this right arrow, there is an option called as import project, right? If you click on this import project, it will ask you to import Studio Web project. So you can drag and drop, or you can select this option, as you know that already. And I have two UiPath Studio Web projects that are already pre-created for me. I mean, let's say these are templates that my team has already pre-built for me, right? I want to connect to one of the OpenAI's Jira issue creation here. So I will click on this and I will select that particular file, and it has successfully imported the particular UiPath Studio Web file. So if I double click on this, it will take a little while to load this, and once it loads, perfect. It is going to give you all the information of what my previous developer has leveraged. It is not going to pull his information. It is just going to leave it empty. And it is going to ask us for configuring our own credentials, right? So it is also that we have covered the security and governance here, security policies also here. So that means it is not capturing his information. Like, let's say OpenAI's API is very is being very costly, right? So instead of if he has commented, if he has leveraged his own API, it is not letting us use his own API. It is just asking us again to connect our own API. So let's see one by one. This is also again the UiPath integration service that is making a connection to the Outlook service, Microsoft Outlook 365 service here. So I will just click on connect. So it is also very seamless. By clicking on connect, it is going to take you to your official Outlook account, or whatever the Outlook account that you will be using, Microsoft account that you will be using, and your integration is loading. So it will take a little while to load this. Yep. See that seamless it is. It has loaded the information, and it is going to pick all the information. This is the API call that is making user friendly, and it is giving all the UI options here. So I'll be selecting this inbox and chat generate chat completion and detect language. Currently, for this demo, I can show you 1 second. I have my own API key here, which I will be getting it connected to. Yep, perfect. So all the APIs that are loaded here have been given. And also, it is the Jira connectivity connection that is going to be made using UiPath Integration Service within Studio Web. And the site URL will be, I have created a Jira site also, just for demo purpose. Let me put that here once. Yep. So this is also the UiPath integration service that is making a connection directly to the Jira service. Okay. All you need to do is what is the type and what is the level of access that you want to grant this particular service. Also remember that once you grant this service, right, it is always within your control that you can delete the connection between UiPath and Jira, or whatever the service it can be. It is within the control of you. Even if you give all the access, it is not going to be a security threat or something. So just keep that in mind. The control is within yourself, because previously I showed you how you can delete the connections also. Perfect. So what this particular workflow is talking is, once I receive an email, it is going to filter based on 2 conditions, right? And received email, and it is going to leverage OpenAI's API, chat completion language API, and it is going to translate that particular body. So if the email has been received in any other language, like Hindi or Japanese or Chinese or any other German or any other language, so it is going to leverage OpenAI's API to convert that particular like chat completion, to convert the particular email body into English, and it is going to to create an issue for within Jira. So that is what this particular automation is doing. So I mean, I have connected the API, but I don't have credentials to run this one. So but this is mainly about showing how you can connect the APIs within this one, right? So this is our this is what I wanted to show you in this particular one. Okay. Going to the next demo, I wanted to show you how you can leverage again Gmail option for within the templates of Studio itself. So UiPath Studio Web and integration service are working hand in hand, because mostly the functionalities what you can achieve using APIs can be easily be converted using converted within Studio Web processes. So here for this demo, I wanted to quickly show you how you can connect with Gmail, the Google Drive, and whatever the email that you have received, and it can automatically be moved into your Google Drive folder. So for this, it is automatically asking you to pre-connect even before you use the template. So let's try to connect this one. It is going to take you to this Gmail. This is also the integration service that is talking to this Google API service, and it is going to pull the information, whatever that authentication that is required. Perfect. The Gmail API has been connected, and let's see what it has connected. Yeah, perfect. And now I wanted to connect it to one of the folders, that is startup and Google Drive. This is also one of the API service. I mean, the API service for Gmail is different as well as Google Drive is different, even though they are under the Google's umbrella, but you have to make a separate call, API call for that. So this seamlessly, we are connecting to all the APIs, right? So this is this easy it is. So you will select what is the parent folder that you wanted to put that particular attachment into. Perfect. And I also wanted to show you what is the particular email that we are talking about. So this is the particular startup folder that I have showed you, and UiPath Integration Service. Okay. And there is one attachment, PDF attachment called as Git Dance. And I wanted to store that in the Google Drive, right? So let's open or connect to the Google Drive also. Oops. Drive. Go to Drive. Okay, let's go back to our demo here. So here, if you see this, right, it is the trigger that is based on not manually triggered or not event. This is an event-based trigger, sorry. What is the event that is occurring is every time you receive an email from into the startup folder, so it should automatically see if there are any attachments to that particular email, and it should move them to the Google Drive folder. Okay. Let's try to run this. I mean, that we can click on this test trigger, whether it is ready to be matched or not. So it is saying one item match, matching the filter criteria has been found. What is the filter criteria? That means the particular folder should have an email which has an attachment. So it is pre-filtering whether this automation is ready to run or not. This is a demo that I'm clicking on run, but every time you receive an email to your startup folder or whatever the folder that you configure, this automation is going to be pre-triggered. I mean, it is automatically going to be triggered based on the event that is going to happen. So here, if as I've clicked on run, it is going to load all the packages, and it is running first. Every time one activity is successful or failure, it is going to show you the option itself here. It is currently in running mode. That means, yeah, once it is run successfully, it will trigger, it will convert that as run successfully, and everything has ran successfully, right? Every time. If you have any failure, it will show you there what is the error that it has been observed, whether it is a business exception or application exception. It automatically shows you there. So what this is doing, I just did not develop anything here. I pre-built. So it is as simple as that. Like we have a pre-built templates also. You can just plug and play them. So all I did is just made some connections to this Google Mail service as well as Google Drive API service. So now here, if I wanted to make any changes, right, like let's say don't move all the attachments, but only move the attachments with particular naming convention, then I will be coming here and making some code changes. But until then, I don't need to make any changes, right? So now uploading files service automation is running here. So let's see what's going to happen. Yeah, it's still in running mode. So let's wait for a couple more minutes. It depends on how big the attachment is also, right? So you have to take that into consideration also. Yep, perfect. It has successfully uploaded the file, and see, all the log messages can be found here. And also, I mean, I have given in-depth session about how to leverage debugging and how to see the inline logging methodology for Studio Web process that can be watched in our previous demos. But this is mainly about integration service, right? So I'm talking more about how the API integration service is being connected to Gmail's API and Google Drive's API. So I know these are all out of the box connectors within integration service, but you can leverage this. Okay, let's see how this upload has this. It is showing it is ran successfully. So, but whether it has uploaded the file, git dance file into this particular folder or not. Yeah, this is my my drive, and okay, let's filter through this particular one. One second, to which folder I am uploading it to. It is going to create a new folder. Yep, sorry, here it is. Integration service, UiPath service export. See, the time is 4:39, and you can see the, all the images. Oh, this is awesome. So it is also taken images of the particular Git dance document, and it has uploaded them here, right? So that flexible it is. So it has did the job, whatever the job it has to do, it has did. But if you want to make any changes, so this is the template project that I have tried within UiPath Studio Web. But if you want to make any changes, you don't want to read through all the PDF files, only read the PDF files with particular naming conventions. So you can make those changes within this template. So you don't need to recreate the whole thing, right? So that is the feasibility within this. Okay. Without any further ado, let us go and see how you can, in the next demo, how you can see or build a custom connector within UiPath Integration Service. So for that, I will go to Integration Service. Okay. Let's close all this one. Okay, go away. Okay. So these are all the out of the box connectors, but if I wanted to build a new connector, right? So I will click on this add a new connector option. Okay. And this is a pre-built connector by me, and we are going to do the same thing again. But so if you click on this create a new connector, you can automatically load a file. The file can be a JSON file or a Swagger file, Swagger files that are Swagger documentation files. Or you can directly load them from URL. It can be a swagger.json or anything. But if you have some Postman documentations of API calls, let it be coming from weather API, like you can try it basically from any publicly available APIs. So, or any custom built APIs which are not available within this out of the box integration service, or you can select from a blank connector. So there can be some use cases where your organization has their own products which are not outsourced or not sold anywhere. So they have the particular API connectivity. So you can leverage them by getting that particular blank connectors which are already connected within this one. But for now, I will show you a demo of pulling this from a URL. Okay. And the URL that I'm going to use is going to be the pet store. Okay. If you click on continue, right? If the Swagger JSON file has any data, first of all, verify whether that particular Swagger JSON file has any data by clicking by navigating to that particular URL. Okay, it has data and it has all the required configuration select properly configured. So if it has all the data, it is going to come here and it is going to give you all the information of what are the calls that it is going to be taken care of and what are the information that is available within this particular API. Okay, so it is going to be put call, post call, get call, and all the remaining calls information will be discussed later. But if the Swagger file has all the pre-configured information, so you don't need to do anything, right? And if you want to upload a new icon here, you can go ahead and upload a new icon. But for now, let us leave it as is. And going to next option, you will click on create. And these are all the calls, API calls that are ready for you to make. Okay. And currently this is the information, the tab information, which is showing you what is the info of this particular custom connector that you're going to make. So we will write it as pet store, just pet store. And what is the base API? There are changes detected. Okay, I think I haven't saved it. Okay. If I wanted to change the name, once you hit, you have to hit the save button here. So just keep that in mind. Okay, there is some internal service. Okay. I don't want to mess this up right now. So let's leave it as is. Let's continue with the demo. For now, the pagination type, there can be an information which is stored, pagination type, right? Like what is the maximum number of JSON objects that the particular API can give. It is maximum 100. The pagination starts with 0 or 1, like what is the custom pagination that you can offer here. So what is the content type header application.json, or what are the authentication types, whether it can be OAuth or custom, or what are the other authentication types that whatever you can use, they can be leveraged here. For now, we'll leave it as is, and my bearer token and all the information that can be leveraged here. So these are the API calls I told you, right? Like if you want to get a pet information, this is the API about a pet store. So all they are offering is get the pet information by ID, and create a new pet information by creating a post call and all these things. So we will leave it as is. And currently it is showing it is not connected. So I will click on this drop down and I will click on add connection here, which is going to take me to another page. Connect to Swagger Pet Store. Okay, connect. Okay, there is some error. Did we mess up anything? Okay, add connection. Okay, there is something going wrong, but yesterday when I tried it in previously, it worked for me. So I will leverage that option. This is the one which I previously created, right? So it is showing that it is connected, right? I can click on this edit connection again, and I can show you how this authentication works for the previous one. I did exactly the same things that I did for this one, but I don't know, I might have messed up something. But even before you go to this integration service, right, you can check this particular options by passing the information from here. So if you want to see whether this API is working or not, and by selecting whether this get call is working or not, you can select the API call types on the right hand side, and you can expand on one of them and get by ID. I wanted to select that particular one. If you don't select, it doesn't show you there. Okay. Okay. So select that particular option, and click on send request. And what is that? It is asking for an ID of the pet to return. I will type 1 as an ID and I will click execute here. So it is going to give me an information provider error code not found. So code 1 and type error is not found. So pet by pet ID. So let's type the status available. Are there any pets available, right? So I wanted to see if there are any pets available. So this is the information that is going to get back to you. But hope you got the information, right? Hope you got the understanding of how to configure an information of API by using custom connector builder. Yeah, perfect. So this is working. If I pass a value of pet ID as 2, it is getting me the success information that is 200. And it is going to get me all the body. I mean, the body has all the information. What is the pet's name, and what is the ID of the pet, and what is the category of the what is the category, and what is the particular all other information is being leveraged here. So what I'm going to do here, I'm just going to click on publish and publish connector. This can take few seconds. I mean, I have already pre-published this connector, but I'm just showing you just for the demo purpose of this. I'm just republishing this. So I wanted to leverage this particular custom connector I have made, a connector builder for a pet store that I have created. So let's go again to the Studio Web. I will also show you a demo within the UiPath Studio also, but first let's see a quick demo in the Studio Web also. So I'll click on new project, and it will be custom connector for pet store, and I'll click create. Let it be a manual trigger for now. And here it is very interesting that you have to type connector builder. Okay. It's not the pet store that you cannot type pet store automatically, because you have leveraged connector builder and you have created a custom connector, right? So that is the reason you have to get this information. And I wanted to use the option of get record again. And once it is installed, right, it is showing you, it will give you what is the connectors that are available. Yep, Swagger Pet Store is the one which we have created. And select object. Okay. Let's see what's going on. Yeah, this is the demo that I have yesterday worked for. So when I wanted to get a record of the particular pet, right? So I can just select that particular object that is pet, and I can type the pet ID, and I can get the pet name and pet status, whether it is available or not. So let's quickly run this and see how it is working. So I told you, right, if there are any errors, it is going to throw you the information there itself. So currently, maybe there might be some errors with that particular API. So that is the reason this is a publicly available Swagger of a pet store information. So that is the reason it is throwing some errors. But hope you got some idea of how this custom connector is working, right? And in the same way, I wanted to quickly show you how how to leverage this functionality within UiPath Studio. So mostly, I mean, not everyone will use Studio Web, right? So we will see how the UiPath Studio will be using this. But before leveraging this functionality, you have to install a package called as UiPath Connector Builder Integration. So go to your all packages and type this one, Connector Builder Integration Service Activities. So this is mainly, first of all, remember that this is only connecting to the automation cloud, not for the on-premise orchestrators. So keep that in mind. Even integration service is only available for cloud operations. I mean, based on the automation ops, I don't know whether it is available within the on-premise or not. I have to check that. But currently, it is being leveraged seamlessly within automation cloud. Yeah, for now we will install this package, and I'll show you how we can call the connector custom connector that we have built for the pet store. Awesome. The connector connector builder package has been installed within the UiPath Studio. So I will go into main and I will go into activities and I will type connector builder scope. Okay. I spelled it wrong, but yeah, here it is. You can drag and drop this. Okay, which is going to show you the options. The options are mainly looking like this one. Let me open up that. Yeah, the connector builder scope, you see this, right? Once you click on configure, it is going to, I mean, the connection has already been made to your UiPath cloud, right? So you can select the connector automatically from here. And it is going to select whether the connection is active or not. If you click on this test connection, it is having some errors, but yeah, hope you understood the whole idea of what this connector builder and how you can leverage this within UiPath Studio, right? So that ends our demos, and yeah, feel free to, I mean, I'm open for any questions if you have any.
So the integration service, is that part of your subscription for the cloud service?
Yeah, it is a part of, I mean, currently I'm using the UiPath Studio. So it has been a part of the integration service, but if you want to leverage it in an enterprise level, so you might be needed to have a license, and you can discuss that with your technical account managers or whoever.
Okay, and I had 2 more questions. Is there a limit on the number of triggers you can have set up?
That's a very good question, Tracy. I am not sure about the limits. Also, it depends on the API connectivity, right? Like what is the service level that you have with the service API. So let's say there is a limit of only 200 connections or 200 requests that you can make with Salesforce API. So only that is the limit. If it is more, you can make it. So the classic example is at our previous client, what we have did is we are using Outlook API calls to send emails through Outlook Office 365 API calls to send emails. So what we observed and what we identified is only in particular minute, we can only send around 200 emails using that API. We cannot leverage to send more than 200 emails because we received some errors when we are trying to send 300 emails for one of the processes, long running process. So we observed and we debugged this particular option. So yeah, it depends on how much the API is offering.
Okay, and then the last question I had was, I was really interested in what you're showing with the Swagger Postman documentation for doing the custom connector. Yeah. Is it possible to go ahead and let's say you have a new endpoint added for the API or something changes? Is it possible to rebuild the connector real quick with just updated documentation?
Yeah, absolutely. So you have to check, but the backdrop about this custom connectors is you are the person who has to take care of this maintaining of the API. You know, if it is out of the box API, UiPath team will automatically take care of that for you. You know, if the API goes down, you can automatically ping someone in the UiPath team and ask them, hey, why it is not working for me? But if it is a custom connector, you are the one person who needs to take care of any API updates that are coming across. Like I know they will be going from version 1 to version 2 or version 3, right? So yeah, it is easy, but the development team will be responsible for making the changes. Hope that answers your question.
It did. I guess since no one else is kind of piping up, I did have one other thing I was curious about. Is there, if you do like a custom connector for an API that UiPath doesn't have, is it possible to share that easily with the community where they don't have to worry about the Swagger documentation? So is there a way to do that?
Yeah, absolutely. I haven't found any publicly available APIs. I mean, first of all, I haven't had a lot of time to work on this demo. I just quickly went on to the publicly available Pet Store API Swagger documentation. So I can come up with some demo and I can post in our YouTube channel of our communities.
That'd be great, because I love getting back to the community. And if you can short circuit so someone else doesn't have to do the whole thing with the connector, I mean, I think that's kind of great.
I agree. Yeah, I love leveraging UiPath community tutorials a lot. I use them every day. Awesome. I think we only have 3 more minutes. Hope you enjoyed our session. So keep following our YouTube Dallas, UiPath Dallas chapter for upcoming sessions. So we are going to do a next one, which is very interesting for me. I know how to leverage AI Center API to create. I mean, how to create a model within AI Center and how to leverage the API to outside projects of your organization also. So I wanted to work on a demo, and we are going to do one session in the next month. So yeah, register for that.
Thank you, Naveen. That was a great session, and thank you all for joining today. And if you have any topics for any other things you'd like to hear about, just let us know, please.
Sure. Thank you, Naveen.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Y'all have a good one.